Hello and welcome to A Little Crafting. My name is Annie and this is my monthly podcast where I talk about all the things that I have been making. That usually includes some knitting, some spinning, some weaving, some sewing and some embroidery more recently. Today is August the 26th and it is the bank holiday weekend in the UK. So I have a bit of time to record. I think it's been over a month now because I would have done a recording just before I went on holiday, and since then my sisters got married, which was lovely. It was an amazing day, and otherwise I've just been working and creating things as well. So yeah, if you want to find me on social media, I am a_little_crafting on Instagram and Ankiwoo on Ravelry. And if you haven't watched the podcast before, I am coming to you from Surrey, which is in the southeast of England, just southwest of London in the UK. I live here with my husband and my cat. My cat has on occasion joined me in the podcast, but that's a rare occurrence, so I don't think we'll expect her today. So let's get started with some actual content. And last time I recorded, I shared my progress on this lovely cowl. This is the Pressed Flowers cowl by Amy Christoffers. And I am going to just stand up so that you can see how it looks. So this cowl is knit in mosaic colour work. I have used my own hand spun yarn, that's from Hedgehog Fibres, as well as some Dererum Natura Ulysse, which is one of my favourite yarns to knit with. The colourway that I've used for that is Fusain. And it's a really nice, pretty cowl. I think the flowers are looking more like crosses on my version. I'm not sure why that is, but I think it's the way that they are stitched and knit together. There's not as much rounding around the edges on my one, but I think that looks absolutely fine, to be honest. It's just a really lovely mosaic colourwork design, and it's the first time I've used my hand spun, so I'm really happy to have had an opportunity to knit with it. And I think this really brings out all the range of colours in this hand spun yarn and shows you kind of the subtle effect of colour changing that's been created in my 2-ply yarn. The yarn that I had spun was a 2-ply sport weight, so it works really well with the Dererum Natura Ulysse, as it's about the same size. I can't remember exactly how many yards I had of this yarn. I've recently got myself a yardage counter, so for future spins I should be able to tell you exactly how many yards I have of each of those. So that's an initial finished object. I found it really nice and relaxing to knit. The only thing I would say is that personally I don't like the way the back looks, and I would personally make it a kind of round cowl, so knit it in a circle and then you have it so that the back doesn't show. But I'm not sure how you would go about that with this particular mosaic pattern. So if I was to change anything and make it again, I would say I would knit it in the round rather than flat. I also I'm not a big fan of the edges, so along here there's an edge. Let me see if I can show you again. There's a kind of not so neat edge. I think that's because my hand spun isn't exactly completely even, and therefore I think that makes it look a bit messy. But what I do is I've folded it in half, and I'll probably end up wearing this in the winter with a coat over the top, so I can just tuck this in like this and have a nice cozy cowl with a bit of lovely mosaic detail on it. It's, I'd say, a very beginner friendly pattern. It's just mosaic knitting in either stockinette or garter stitch, so you're only going back and forth and knitting and purling, but the nice thing about mosaic knitting is you get this lovely colour work effect in a really simple way. So you always only knit with one colour on one row, and then you'll slip stitches to create the mosaic effect. And I think it's really lovely. I am tempted to knit the mosaic cardigan at some point, but I have so many sweater and cardigan projects in the plan that I wouldn't get to it for a number of years, I think, at this point. So I'm not going to make an assumption and buy it just because I like it, having knit this cowl. But I'm really happy with how it turned out, and yeah, it looks really good. I love the way that my hand spun works in terms of the colours, and I'm excited to knit with a bit more in future. So that's my only finished object at the moment, but I do have some other works in progress. This is a Quince & Co bag, that's a lady on Etsy, and I really like her round bottom bags. But the first one I'm going to talk about is the Toast and Jam Mitts by Emily Foden. So this is my first one. This is a mitten pattern, or like a fingerless glove pattern, I guess, that I actually bought in paper version from John Arbon Textiles. Patterns by Emily Foden. It's actually designed in the Viola yarns that's now discontinued, but what I've ended up doing is using some of the leftover yarn I had, which is Madeline Tosh DK Twist in the Red Woman colourway. So this will match a hat that I've got. So this is mitten or glove number 1. What I really like is this kind of garter stitch detail on the palm, and you can see I've finished all of the kind of main part of the fingerless glove, but I've still got the thumb to pick up. Just put it on so you can see. So this is how it looks at the moment. There you go. I love the twisted rib on a mitten like this, or a glove like this. I think it looks really nice. And yeah, I cast this on quite a while ago, but I don't think I showed it in the podcast at the time. And I've recently just been in the habit of looking in project bags and going, oh, I'll carry on with that then. So I'm resurrecting a few old works in progress at the moment. So this is glove number 1. I'm using a Scooby-Doo as my stitch keeper, and I will be ready to cast on glove number 2 shortly. Yeah, I've got the paper pattern folded up in the project bag at the moment, and one of my friends actually bought the pattern as well, so we'll have matching mittens or matching gloves, and it kind of fits really nicely with the ribbing, I think. So yeah, that's what I've been knitting on partially at the moment. What else have I got? So I actually haven't continued with anything that I showed in the last episode. I think I had a t-shirt or a tank top that I was knitting, but I have, like I said, picked up some older works in progress. So the second one that I want to show you is the Lunati, and this is a pattern by Charissa Lam. And at the moment it looks really tiny, but it's in broken rib, so it's very, very stretchy. And I really love the raglan detail and the way that ribbing works down the top. So this is more of a summer top. I am actually knitting it in undyed yarn. It is a merino and eco-friendly nylon alternative, I think. I've just grabbed this from my stash of undyed yarn that I'm planning on dyeing. I originally was thinking of knitting this and then dyeing it afterwards when I decided what colour I wanted it to be, but actually I'm really liking a kind of neutral beige like this. I think it looks great. So yeah, it will stretch out when blocked as well, and I'm looking forward to having that done. I think it's designed originally to be a bit cropped, but I'm going to knit it to a length that I like, and so far for this size top I have used up 100 grams of I think it would be a 400 meter fingering weight yarn, and I'm really loving the way that it's looking. So it's going to be a bit longer for me, just because I'll probably wear it with high-waisted stuff, but I also don't like the idea of it flipping up too much. And I really love how quickly this works up in this broken rib. The pattern is really nice, and really lovely and stretchy as well. I am a bit worried that it will be a bit small on me because I'm not as small as I was size-wise last year when I first cast this on. So if that does happen, I'm sure I will find a home for it, and I'm just enjoying working on it and yeah, making progress on a knit that is fairly simple in both its design and also the kind of actual knitting itself. So yeah, that is one that I resurrected and started working on. I am using one of these lovely ring stitch counters. Highly recommend these. I think Audi has some. They are really great for counting stitches or counting rows when you're at the end of them, because you can just tap on your ring finger or your whatever finger you put it on and count up how many rows you have done. For example, for this I'm doing decreases at certain sections. This is in a Clara Rose crafts bag. It's one of my favourite craft bag designers, and it is an old one but a good one. It is Alice in Wonderland and a red bottom on there. So yeah, I'm getting on with that at the moment. I haven't done this for a while and I definitely need to let myself take a breath right now. So already onto the last knitted whip, and I've barely started this one, but I will show you the yarn anyway. So this is some hand-dyed yarn that I dyed. It is 100% organic merino non-superwash. But it does look like it's worsted spun, so it is quite smooth still. See if it'll focus on that. Come on, camera. There you go. And it's in this lovely turquoisey blue colour. Out of this I have started a Sophie shawl. So I did knit one of these towards the end of the year last year and thoroughly enjoyed it, and also it's one of those scarves or shawls that I wear quite a lot, and it's quite easy to just chuck on and go over the top of a sweater or something like that if I'm going outside and it's chilly. And I've opted to do one in this lovely blue colour. My other one was kind of an old, what my grandmother would call an old pink, which I also really love, but I felt like I needed a blue one too, so that's why I'm doing it in this other hand-dyed yarn that I created some time ago. It's also a good way of me using hand-dyed yarn for something that's going to be worn and used quite a bit, which is fantastic. So I've just started that one. I'm hoping that alternating with my Lunati will be the perfect kind of like easygoing knitting, relaxed knitting. The mittens or the fingerless gloves are a little bit more complex because I have to increase for the thumb gusset and do all of that, and also it's in twisted rib, so it's a little bit harder on your hands. So I think these three projects will be the ones that I'm consistently working on for a bit until I finish that Lunati, and I'll probably switch to one of the other t-shirt or sweater projects that I've got as a work in progress. But I'm glad I'm resurrecting some of these and just getting on with them since I finished my November vest by Petite Knit. So that is that one. This is also a quince pie bag. I will link to her Etsy shop in the description below. I've got a little bit of fluff going on there. So next up, what else have I been up to in the fibre related world? And I have been doing some spinning, as you might expect from my recent episodes. So I am spinning up the last sections of my 5th birthday bits by Spindles and Stitches. Sorry for the crinkling, this is what they look like. And I am kind of pulling them apart and trying to spin them intentionally, so through the colours, but this is what my more messy bobbin looks like now that I've spun up some of these. Focus, there you go. So yeah, so it's yellow, green, blue mixed together. What I'm going to do, so that it can kind of go in my gradient that I've already planned out, I am going to be 3-plying this. So this is one of the plies on here. I've got another bobbin full, and then the rest that I've got in the bag will go on one more bobbin in order for me to 3-ply that. I decided to 3-ply it because I really like the kind of texture that the 3-ply yarn gives. It makes it very rounded. I'm hoping this will look really good even though it's colour changing. I kind of prefer 3-ply on a more solid or slightly variegated yarn. I'm having a lot of trouble showing this today. There we go. Just out of practice. But yeah, it's looking really nice. And I'm excited to have it done, so hopefully next time I record I'll be able to show you the finished skein and also tell you how many yards I have of it. So yeah, I'm still very much enjoying the spinning. I'm not doing it quite as often these days, mostly because I seem to just be very busy with other things. So I've had a bit of a busy month or two at least. So hoping that I'll have more time for spinning very soon. So that is kind of my hand spun so far. I'm not a big yellow person, so I don't tend to wear a lot of yellow, but because I am going to be creating a gradient with a darker blue and a medium blue colour, I'm thinking this is the last section will actually look quite nice, but I'll see how I get on. The plan is to make an attune shawl by Andrea Mowry. I'm a bit late to the party for the Tour de Fleece knit along, but knit and spin along, but I will go at my own pace and start knitting it once I've actually got all of these yarns created and ready to knit up. Spindles and Stitches is not operating at the moment because the lady, I can't remember what she's called, who owns the company is having a baby, but I'm hoping it will be back soon because I love the colours that she is creating. Unspun fibre, let's say that. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to her being back so that I can buy some more of her fibre. Cool, having a little breather, but I will move on to other things that I have been working on. So I have been doing some cross stitch, and I have been picking up some of my D&D Ampersand cross stitch, although not quite done yet. It's definitely shaping up to look like it should. So I think what I've got left to do is just a little bit further on the flame here, and then there's a tail that goes up and over here. This is a pattern by Aliton Embroidery. I will link to that shop down below. And I am still thoroughly enjoying it. I think one of the things that makes this appealing is the gradient of colour. So I can just pick a colour, do a little bit of cross stitch in that colour, and then put it down once I've finished that colour, then pick up a different colour the next time, and it makes it that much more interesting. It does use a lot of colours though, but I think that makes it look very, very cool. and I am using a Nerge number 5 hoop to hold this. I also have a Nerge kind of hoop holder, which has been really helping, because I've been finding my right hand, I'm actually left-handed, my right hand when I'm holding and gripping starts to ache after a while, so having something that actually holds the hoop for me so that I can stitch is really good. I also have on it a needle minder, which is from Vickers Space, who I also will wax lyrical about her kits. I believe there are more kits coming on the 1st of September, and I really need to get back to satin stitch embroidery once I've done this, because it's so much quicker and so much more satisfying. Cross stitch, I'm feeling, takes absolutely ages. I can understand why people spend years doing these big pieces, and my grandmother was one of those people. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it's looking and how it's going. I am spurred on by all the colours, and I have kept working on this, which I'm really happy about, unlike some of the other kits I've started over the years. What I'm doing is actually using a Posca pen to mark off each stitch as I do it. So I'll do a row of the same colour, and then just dot across to say that those stitches have been done, sewn, however you want to call it, and that's working really well for me. I've had a few errors where I've had to suddenly go, uh-oh, I need to take out a whole section, but it's so quick to repeat that it's absolutely fine. Yeah, and I'm almost there, I think. That's the back. Doesn't look too bad, a little bit messy in places. I'm not the best at this, but I'm learning, and I'm enjoying the process for sure. So hopefully there'll be more cross stitch opportunities in future, but I do want to switch to the quicker, more satisfying satin stitch fairly soon. And again, I'm hoping that next time I record, I will have this all finished so I can show you the finished item. Fingers crossed. I need to work a bit more on it before then. My last work in progress is actually some quilting, which I haven't done for some time, but one of my colleagues is having a baby, and I have got it into my head that this is now a tradition that I make a quilt for all of the babies that my colleagues have. So I'm going to show you a little bit of it, because it's actually quite big for a baby quilt. So yeah, the edging is like this, then the centre is all of these lovely travel related fabrics. This was just from a pack of fat quarters that I got from Hobbycraft. I can't remember what it was called, but I just cut these up into 5-inch squares, I think, and then sewed them all together pretty much in a slight pattern, just to go for that. So yeah, it is quite a big quilt. I haven't put the border on yet. The backing is grey. The border will be turquoise to kind of blend in with this edge on the front. And I have ordered a triangle patch. I'm going to fold it up now. It's huge. I've ordered a triangle patch to put on the back of it, so that it's got a kind of commemorative section that says this is who it's for, and this is when it was made, and it was made by me. Just so that it kind of makes it a more special keepsake, I feel, if it has a date and the person who's actually made it written on the actual item, like a label. I could design a label, kind of. Yeah, but I do love some of these fabrics, the ones with the continents and all sorts. It's really nice. My colleague is having a baby boy, by the way, so I did go full on into the blues this time. I don't typically go full on blue, but I thought this was just nice and worked with the turquoise as well. So yeah, I have been vigorously working on this for the last couple of weeks to make sure it's done before the baby arrives for the first time, because the last two that I made were not beforehand. And yeah, I've enjoyed making it. Again, I always leave myself very little time to actually get things done, so so it has been a bit of a rush, but I am so close to being finished. So I just need to put the edge on once that patch with the embroidery turns up. I've ordered that online on Etsy. I will try and find the person I've ordered it from and link to that if you're interested. But yeah, quilting again. Yeah, definitely enjoying that process too. I especially love the piecing. I don't really so much enjoy the quilting itself. I am going to be making my sister and her husband a quilt at some point, so I will probably send that off to be long armed, because I imagine it's going to end up being queen sized and I'm never going to be able to quilt that on my little sewing machine. So yeah, that is baby quilt number 3 that I have been making. Lastly, I am going to talk about some purchases that I have made. So, oh, let me lean over. The first one is I've bought 3 balls of this Bomulin by Isager. Should be that. There you go. So this is colour 0, and this is a 65% cotton, 35% linen yarn. It's 50 grams for 210 meters. And the reason I have bought 3 balls of this is because I have some blue already that I was making a Pretty in Pleats top with, and then I frogged that. So what I am going to do though is I'm going to make one of the other camisoles by My Favourite Things Knitwear, and I'm going to stripe it. So I'm going to do the white and the blue striped together. I don't know if I'm going to get to this year. It'll probably be a next summer project, but I thought I'd buy the Bomulin whilst it was in stock and available, just in case something happened. So I have gone for those 2 colours, and I'm looking forward to casting them on when I get a few whips finished off. So that's probably going to be next summer. But the plan is in place, right? I've got the yarn now, I can just cast it on when I feel like it. So that is one thing. I ordered that from Tribe Yarns, and they have recently moved up to Scotland from Richmond, so much less convenient for me. But I also thought something caught my eye when I was ordering that, and that's this bundle of mini skeins from Woolstock, Blue Sky Fibres. And I thought this was absolutely wonderful as a mix of colours. It's a mini hank. It is Peruvian fine Highland wool in worsted weight. I am not sure what I'm going to do with this, but I felt like just going for it. I am thinking of something like a striped sweater, but I'm not sure. So I'll see. Something striped for sure, because I want to use all these colours together. But with it being worsted weight, I am not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what I would pair it with. Maybe some Dererum Natura Gilliatt. I don't know if it would be the same though. How many plies does this have? Look, I think it's a 2-ply. So yeah, maybe some colour work, maybe something like that. Oh, actually, you know what? Colour work yoke would be amazing in these. Could I do that? How many colours have I got? I've got a lot of colours in here. So yeah, maybe I could dig out the Tin Can Knits Strange Brew, that's the one. Maybe make a Strange Brew sweater with these colours. I'm not sure what I would have as the main colour though. have to look through my stash. But yeah, very excited for these lovely autumnal flamey colours paired with the blues that I also absolutely love. And each one does have a little tag which says what it is, which is really interesting, but also a lot. Anyway, I like these, that's why I bought them. And they're worsted weight yarn. Otherwise, I couldn't resist buying some more unspun fibre for spinning because I am a bit addicted, as you can tell at the moment. So I bought a couple from Tall Hedge Fibres on Etsy, and I'm realising what I'm drawn to is sort of hand-dyed hanks of, or braids of unspun fibre. And the reason for that is about the colour distribution. So I'll show you what I got. This one is rainbow in superwash merino. It's 109 grams. And I just love the subtlety of these colours and the fact that when I spin it will probably mostly come out as white. But it will have these beautiful colours kind of interspersed and sort of faded through the whole spin. So 109 grams, and obviously, yeah, Tall Hedge Fibres on Etsy. And it's superwash merino. 18.5 micron superwash merino, so it says. So yeah, that's one. Then I wanted to go for some more autumnal colours that are more my style as well. So this is Belle Epoque. So lots of reds and greys and greens, but again with that sort of white as the main. Oh my god, this red colour. This burgundy is like my dream. So yeah, this again is superwash merino, 18.5 microns, 108 grams this time, and again is the Tall Hedge Fibres. Yeah, so really excited to spin these two up. I also wanted to go for some less shiny merino yarns, so I ended up ordering from another lady. This is stephscraftybits on Etsy. Again, links in the description below. And this one is 100% Corriedale, but look at those colours. This one won't be so white compared to the others, so it'll be super bright, I think. Those greens and the yellows and the oranges and the blues just absolutely singing. So yeah, I'm going to try and spin some Corriedale, approximately 100 grams, and colourway 8 if you want to find this one on Etsy. And then the other one again is more my colour wheel, so the pinks and the kind of old pink colour I would say is this one here. Again, very much me, again Corriedale, so I'll see how that spins up. It'll be a good experiment. But I'm thinking in terms of using these yarns, it will feel much easier because I can make colour work with them, so I could do something similar to my mosaic cowl, and yeah, it'll look really beautiful paired with another yarn like Dererum Natura Ulysse. So I'm looking forward to having those. This one will be a bit more subtle, I think, than the brights of this one, but I bet it will be really beautiful as well. So yeah, spinning a lot for sure, and I just need to start using the rest of my hand spun yarns, especially now that I've made this and I'm really happy with it. I just think there's no reason why not. I just need to pick up another project. I do have a full list of hand spun favourites in my Ravelry queue, so I'll probably start to work through those, which is a great thing to do. So I'll just pick the next pattern, pick the next skein of yarn that I have hand spun, and then go from there. Hopefully I have enough Dererum Natura Ulysse because the main person I used to buy from in the UK is actually closing down shop. That's Great British Yarns, so I'm going to end up having to get some in France. And I've just realised my parents are at their apartment in France for the next couple of weeks. I might need to order some to theirs. Let's see. So yeah, that is about it from me. I am going to be on holiday for a week and a bit at the end of September, going into October. But otherwise I should be crafting as usual, and I will, fingers crossed, have 3 finished objects for the next episode. I won't be able to show the quilt, but I will have the finished D&D Ampersand, and I'll probably have the Lunati done as well, and then I'll show you that skein of yarn that I'll have spun up too. Thanks very much for watching this this episode. Sorry, I have been a little bit rusty this time around. Let me try and record a bit more frequently going forward. But thanks for your time. Please do like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Happy crafting. Bye.